Hey everybody, this is Kelly Jackson with the Signal, Not the Noise. Today I am going to participate in a completely shameless plug. Maybe not totally shameless, but I wanted to just focus on an article that I wrote myself for a small conservative outlet that we have here in Middle Tennessee, one of the very few that are untouched by wokeness and the rhino establishment machine. I wrote this article that was for print today to basically cover the bills that are being presented to this session in our General Assembly. So I just wanted to go through my bill really quickly and just discuss some of the possible improvements that could be made. And since this is a topic of national attention, I thought, even though this is Tennessee, we've got some national figures involved here in this particular hearing. As you can see here is Miss Chloe Cole, who you've seen on many different conservative outlet programs, including Jordan Peterson. She was on The Blaze. She's been all over the place. She's basically the face of this movement. So she was here in our General Assembly yesterday to help us to fight for this bill so that they can stop transing the kids in Tennessee, our big evil medical conglomerate known as Vanderbilt. So the Tennessee Conservative by Kelly M. Jackson, that's me. Yesterday, legislation that would effectively make illegal any medical treatments that would permanently change the physical bodies of underage persons who are experiencing gender dysphoria, either through surgery or hormone treatments, moved one step closer to becoming law in the state of Tennessee. I won't bother you with the minutia. The bill is hyperlinked. I can put that hyperlink in the comments section so that you can go in and read the legislation for yourself. Essentially, what the legislation endeavors to do is to make any of the extremely harmful either surgical or hormone treatment procedures that have been going on, as we know, at Vanderbilt University Hospital, make them for the most part, effectively illegal in the state of Tennessee. And then on top of that, if the bill or if the law is violated by the provider, they would not only face removal of their licensure from the licensing boards, but they would also would have their children would have the ability also to sue them in civil court for the things that their parents, did to them when they were kids, which I think is fantastic. Those things should definitely be put in place. During yesterday's meeting of the Health Subcommittee, Representative William Lamberth, our Republican District 44 Portland, somebody that I don't normally necessarily see as one of our staunchest supporters of all that is good and right and true, the sponsor of the bill on the House side presented his case to the committee on why the legislation is necessary to protect the children of Tennessee. Lamberth argued that potential permanent harm due to what could be characterized as unnecessary and abusive treatments could leave lasting damage that would prohibit any individual exposed from having fully functional lives that would have otherwise been available to them had their bodies not been altered physically or chemically. I think the bottom line here is that, and this is something that Matt Walsh's documentary really brought home. These decisions having been made on the minor child's behalf by the parent or at the behest of a doctor or other healthcare provider, who incidentally would also profit financially from what would certainly be a lifetime of constant medical intervention. Because I think we all saw in that video that Matt Walsh brought out, that was a meeting at Vanderbilt. I think it was like a shareholders meeting. Essentially, the point was, hey, we get these kids now, they're going to be lifelong patients, because such a transformation would, of course, demand the necessity of constant, ongoing, lifelong medical treatment, which means lots and lots of dollars for the medical conglomerate of Vanderbilt University. The bill enjoys broad grassroots support. However, some have pointed out specific issues with the bill that need some attention. And I think these are fantastic points, or at least series. This particular one is a fantastic point. The Tennessee Conservative reached out to Gary Humble. He is a friend of mine, executive director of grassroots organization Tennessee Stands. I've got the hyperlink there. Whoever hasn't had an opportunity to take a look at that organization, it is an extremely important and worthwhile organization here in Tennessee, protecting the individual freedoms of Tennesseans. They have lobbied stridently for legislation that much resembles HB 001 in the past few years. There were some bills that have been brought forward by our representatives on both the House and Senate side, Representative John Reagan and State Senator Janice Bowling, that have been trying to essentially protect our kids from being trans for the last few years. And yet it never saw any real support until, I have to say, Matt Walsh's documentary. So at least there's that. Thank goodness there's that. Humble added that if there were any flaws in the legislation, it would be that there are no real criminal consequences for the provider who performed the treatment on the minor child. Humble said, the teeth in the bill is supposed to be, we can sanction the licensing of a physician and medical facility that was caught violating this law. But I have an issue with the fact that we are trying to say it's illegal to mutilate children. That's kind of a big deal, but we're not willing to assess a criminal penalty. We're not willing to say these doctors are criminals. And I think that should be addressed. And I have to say, I completely and wholeheartedly agree with him. There's still time, of course. There could be an amendment added in the process that could add criminal sanctions. We would just need to contact our state representatives to let them know that's something we want to see. Another person that was in attendance yesterday, another friend of mine, I'm fortunate to say, Landon Starbuck, the president and founder of the nonprofit Freedom Forever, hyperlinked in the comments. Definitely check out this organization as well, whose goal is to end the sexual exploitation and abuse of children, which Starbuck says is pervasive and grows ever more by the day. I reached out to Landon to see if she would like to contribute a quote, and she was gracious enough to give this to me. Her impressions yesterday of the hearing, and she had this to say: the highlight from today's hearing was hearing Chloe Cole's powerful testimony as a victim advocate. It fills me with so much pride to see people like Chloe take their pain and turn it into power so other kids don't have to suffer like she did. We won't stop fighting until these barbaric practices are banned. The bill was approved with the amendments presented by its author, Representative William Lamberth, and will be heard in full committee at a date yet to be determined. 4 additional amendments were introduced by committee member Bo Mitchell. He is a Democrat from District 50 in Nashville, so you can imagine what those probably, I listened to what those were, and essentially it was to pull the teeth out of the bill, but of course they were defeated by the Republican majority on the committee. HB 001 passed out of the House Health Subcommittee by voice vote with ayes prevailing. Democrat Bo Mitchell requested to be recorded as voting no. If the bill makes it through the rest of the legislative process successfully, it will take effect July 1st of 2023, the public welfare requiring it. I will say during the testimony that I was watching during the hearing, there were one in particular person that was there to testify was a lawyer, incidentally a trans lawyer from the ACLU, essentially asserting that all of these state laws that are going to be put into place, that are one state at a time being put into place to help keep the kids from being trans, he said that essentially those would eventually be overturned in the Supreme Court. And I just wholeheartedly disagree. We have this thing called the 10th Amendment, and it allows states to put laws into place that we see will be to the benefit of the residents and tax-paying voters and children of the state of Tennessee. And that is the goal here. I think everybody's goal here on our side, even though we may not all 100% agree with each other with a lot of other things, 100% here, I think what we need to be able to agree on is that all we need to or want to do here is to protect our children. So basically, I would encourage you to go check out the article, read its contents for yourself, check out some of those hyperlinks that I have in the article. Let's do what we can to make sure that none of these medical conglomerates can prey so mercilessly on our kids and their weak-minded parents who would even allow this to come about. So thanks everybody for being here at The Signal, Not the Noise. My name is Kelly Jackson. Please like, subscribe, and I would really appreciate it if you did. Thanks so much, and I will see you next time on The Signal, Not the Noise.